What's up, guys? It's Break Shift. I've got another fun deck to share with y'all. I know it's been a little bit since I've posted anything, and that's because, like a lot of you probably, I have not been too enthused with the meta as of late. Ryziel and Malice being as prevalent as they are, and I didn't really feel inspired, didn't feel like there were a lot of other archetypes that were of great interest to me, but that's changed with the new pack, because now we have Regenesis, and this deck is actually really cool. This is not something that I'm seeing basically anyone talk about, even at like a rogue level, but it's really not a bad deck at all. It's got a lot of interesting plays, and it's reasonably powerful too. I'm recording this off the back of like a 10-game win streak. It's pretty low rank because the season just reset, but regardless, I was not expecting it to be this good, so I thought I'd share my build with y'all. The main idea of the Regenesis monsters is this 2500 stat line. They have a bunch of cards that care about having either 2500 attack or defense, and all of the Regenesis monsters themselves have that stat line, 25-25 for all of them. They come in 3 different flavors, basically. You've got Warrior, Sage, and Dragon, who can summon themselves if there's a monster with 2500 original attack or defense on the field, and that's an inherent summon, which is nice. It doesn't start a chain. These guys all have disruptive effects. Dragon contribute himself to banish a spell trap, Warrior contribute himself to bounce a monster, and Sage contribute a different Regenesis card to negate any card or effect. So those guys are your disruptors. Note the levels as well. These guys are 7 and 8. We also have Archfiend. He's another 8. This guy summons himself from hand if you reveal a monster in hand with 2500 attack or defense. So this is normally the easiest guy to get onto the board so that you can then fulfill the requirements to summon these other ones. Also on summon, he gets to add any Regenesis card from deck or banishment. Pretty neat. And that works on normal summon as well, which is relevant. And then the last guy is sort of the boss, Regenesis Lord. He's not actually like super incredible, but you will use him here and there. He has to banish a face-up monster with 2500 original attack and defense to summon himself, so that's pretty much exclusively your other Regenesis monsters. We have other monsters that have 2500 stat lines, like our Kashtira Unicorn, but for attack and defense, it's really just the Regenesis monsters that you have to work with. So most of the time that means Archfiend is going to search his way to Lord, and then Lord will banish the Archfiend to bring himself out. When he's summoned, you get to set a Regenesis spell or trap from the deck. That's the effect you mostly care about, but what's also cool is that he gains 2500 attack during the battle phase, so he's huge. And of course, people might not read that. They're not going to be familiar with this card. If they think they can beat over him and they go battle phase and he's suddenly giant, that can catch people off guard. And he also deals piercing, so a lot of damage, and most importantly is that setting of a trap. So let's talk about the spells and traps real quick. This trap is, they have 2 of them. This is the only good one, but it's actually really good because it's Book of Moon and Foolish Burial. Send a Regenesis monster from your deck to the graveyard, book one of your opponent's monsters. Really, really strong. And what's also nice about the Send to the Graveyard effect is that all of our Regenesis monsters, except for Lord, share an effect where during the opponent's end phase, if they're in the graveyard because they were sent there this turn, you get to add them to your hand. So even though you have to tribute all of these guys, or with Sage you have to tribute a different card, you can get them all back during the opponent's end phase. And then, of course, they're very easy to summon back onto the field. Note as well that while these guys tribute themselves from the field, Sage not only can she tribute any card, including Birth, because it's a continuous trap, she can also tribute from the hand. So if you have an extra Regenesis in your hand, like if you drew Lord and you didn't want to summon him or something, you can banish him from the hand for her effect. Or rather, sorry, you can send. So pretty decent disruption between these 3 monsters and Birth. Birth also has a second effect. This one doesn't come up very often because you can only use 1 effect per turn, but you can send this card to the graveyard to special summon as many Regenesis monsters as possible with different names from hand, grave, and banishment, but send them to the grave during the end phase. If you ever resolve that, you should just win, but realistically, you're never going to find yourself in a situation to resolve that effect. So mostly this is just Book of Moon that you get to set off Regenesis Lord. It's quite good. We also have two other spells that we're playing. We got a pretty basic Rhoda type card here, just with Regenesis. Take a Regenesis monster, either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Or if you control one, you can add any monster with 2,500 attack and defense. Of course, we don't have any other targets for that. There's not any that are particularly good. But if this card is in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it to reborn a Regenesis from the graveyard. This is pretty nice in like a grind game type situation. Like if you have to tribute off one of your guys on your own turn to stop an opponent's effect, Regenesis will help it come back out of the graveyard, since it won't naturally recur itself if you send it on your turn. So because it has that nice graveyard effect, oftentimes if you summon out Archfiend, you could just go straight for like Lord or something, but it'll be better if you can go through Regenesis first and then into Lord. Just keep in mind that this technically would make you weak to Droll. When you add the Regenesis, they can Droll you if you haven't searched yet, and then you won't be able to get Lord. So bear that in mind. The last card is Regenesis Code. Quick play. This one's really good. It just summons a Regenesis monster straight from the deck. It sends it to the graveyard during the opponent's end phase. We don't care. It'll just come back. And it also locks you out of the extra deck, which we also don't super care about. We don't really need to go into the extra deck to make this deck do its thing. Code also has a graveyard effect. You can banish it, target one of your banished Regenesis monsters, special summon it. So mostly that'll be what happens when you use Lord to banish one of your guys. That's when you'll have a banished guy to get back with Code. Otherwise, you don't really banish your stuff ever. But that's just like the core Regenesis package. I don't think it's really worth changing these ratios at all. Just one of each of the disruptive guys, 3 Archfiend, 1 Lord, 3 Regenesis, and 3 Code. The Birth, you could just play one and just say you're trying to search it with Lord, but it's actually pretty good to draw because there's no requirement or anything. You don't have to control a Regenesis or anything of the sort. Even if you don't have any Regenesis monsters on the field, you can just set this thing and it's still just Book of Moon that also gives you a card during the end phase. So you could even play 3 of this. Honestly, any number of this card you could argue. 2 just fit the bill for me to fill up the space in the deck. Let's talk now about some of the other supplemental engines and sort of techie cards that we've thrown in. Kashtira just obviously makes sense. Unicorn, 2,500 attack. He's going to fulfill the requirements for all of your guys, and he's just independently really powerful because he adds Birth, and Birth lets you normal summon level 7 monsters, which we don't normally normal summon pretty much at all. And these guys being level 7... your other Kashtira cards, of course, being level 7, it's pretty decent to be able to just normal summon one of them sometimes. So, very much appreciated having access to Birth, and if you already have Birth, or if you don't need it, of course, you can just grab Theosis. It extra deck locks you, except for Xyz, but we don't really care about the extra deck anyway, and mostly we do have Xyz down here. So, just being able to go, like, Unicorn, Theosis, Fenrir, that's pretty good, right? These cards also very good going second, so it's just a no-brainer to include them and the race off. We also are playing some Horus cards because this guy, Kebasenuef, has 2,500 attack. So this is something that you could summon out from the graveyard repeatedly in order to meet the conditions for your Regenesis guys that need a monster on board. And in addition to that, of course, just by using the Horus engine in general, we're going to be able to get bodies out if we ever need to tribute summon something, right? If you don't have 2,500 stat line in hand to reveal for Archfiend, you can actually just, like, tribute him out over the top of some Horus guys. So that's not the worst thing in the world. We can also use them to go into Zombie Vampire. Zombie Vampire doesn't have the right stat line or anything, but of course, when you mill cards, it's not terribly unlikely that you'll mill a guy who does have that stat line or is just otherwise relevant, like you'll mill an Archfiend or something. And of course, the opponent might actually have cards with that stat line if you mill them, right? Like just a couple duels ago, I milled a Magnemite, which you can actually use to search the Regenesis Dragon, by the way. Funny interaction. So that's quite good, the Horus engine. And in addition to that, something that pairs quite nicely with the Horus engine because of all the discarding is this card, Dragon's Mind. You might have noticed this in the new pack. This card is awesome. It's a counter trap that negates a spell, trap, or monster effect if you control a monster with 2500 original attack or defense. Just negate and pop, super nice. But what really makes it great is this graveyard effect. You can pay 2500 to set it from the graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. These effects are not exclusive. You can use both of them. Each one of them is once per turn, so you don't really want to see this card in multiples, but because it's a trap card, if you use it on your opponent's turn, then if they go end phase, you can use the Dragon's Mind in your graveyard to set it, and then it'll be ready to go on your turn. So you can use it on back-to-back turns, which is really strong. A lot of the other recursive trap cards you might be familiar with, like Lost Wind, don't really work that way. This one does. It's obviously very easy to fulfill the condition. You can discard this with your King Sark or with your Imseti, and then it's a free discard. You just set it from the graveyard. If you mill it with Zombie Vampire, you just get it for free. Really, really nice card. Fantastic to draw. I'm a big fan of it. And then, obviously, we just have our staple maxi stuff. Crossout Designator, you don't necessarily super need it for this deck in particular, because you don't actually have to special summon all that much sometimes. You could, in fact, statistically, it's probably a little better to play something like Extravagance, but Extravagance is just a little annoying to me. It's just a preference thing. Like, I don't want to go Extrav and then lose my Zombie Vampire or something, so I just chose not to, but keep that in mind. As for the stuff we did put in the extra deck, it's mostly just all of the best generic 8s and 7s. Draco Sack makes for easy IPSP plays. Flare Metal Dragon is nice because sometimes it's not uncommon to have like 10,000 damage, right? Like 5k from Regenesis Lord and then like 2 other guys at 25. And you're probably not going to kill if they have monsters up with that much damage, but you can get pretty close. So Flare Metal Dragon can seal out the game at that point, making him pay 500 to use any card. So decent little guy. Dark Arm Dragon, just a board breaker, pops cards. This is an interesting card you might not be familiar with. Harmonizer Gradiel. It's basically like a sort of DD Crow kind of thing. Quick effect, target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, detach one, and then attach that target. So this is nice against if your opponent's on like Malice or something, they're trying to banish a Malice out of their graveyard, you can snatch it up. And, you know, other situations too, where it might come up. It's just nice to be able to grab cards out of the opponent's graveyard, and it has a pretty decent protection effect based on whatever materials it has. Number 90, this is just what you make with your Horus guys if you don't need like Zombie Vampire or for tributes or anything. Zeus and Typhon, of course, and then just a whole bunch of generic links, including this thing. Don't craft this thing if you don't have it. It's not good, but it is very funny, and I already owned one, so you can blow up the opponent's entire field if you summon this thing using 3 different types and attributes, which is not that hard. These guys are all sorts of different attributes: fire, water, wind, earth, light. But yeah, that is the gist of the deck. It's not super powerful, but it does have some good stuff that it has access to. Also, what's nice about it is that a lot of the stuff that's in the meta right now will actually fulfill your 2500 stat line condition, because these guys don't care who owns the monster. If your opponent has a 2500 monster, you can summon them. And wouldn't you know it, Ryziel Detonator, 2500 defense, a Ryziel Duo Drive, 2500 attack, even Malice, Heart's Cryptor, 2500 attack. So that's not like a huge thing in this deck's favor, but it does come up every now and then. In a similar vein, you could, if you wanted to, push this towards like a pure going second deck, and you could play things like Lava Golem. He's got 2500. You could play some Kaijus. There's a couple Kaijus with 2500. Do stuff like that. I chose not to. There's a lot of ways you could take this deck, but this one's been a ton of fun for me. So I've just got a couple quick replays to show you. Pull some of those up here. The first one here is against Malice. So I won the coin toss. Obviously, I choose to go first. Hand is pretty decent. We drew Birth. Happy to see that. But we get Max Seed. It's not the end of the world, though, because you can get somewhat far with this deck without having to special a lot, because we have a lot of good back row we can use. So I'll just search out to have a target for Archfiend, summon him out, grab Code. Code's a quick play spell, so I can just use it on my opponent's turn. Birth lets us normal the Sage. We'll set. I have to negate the March Hare here, right? You can't let these Malice cards resolve. So that meant I have to tribute on my own turn, so I won't be getting back my Archfiend. It only works if they're sent during the opponent's end phase, if they were sent during that turn. So he's got the field spell. I'm just going to chain Code here and get out my Warrior. This is the Compulse. He banishes Dormouse, going to summon her, and I'm just going to immediately bounce it. I know he can just normal summon it back, of course, but I have Birth for that. Or Regenesis Birth, that is. There's 2 Births on the field right now. He's got the Sark as well. He's going to bring out White Rabbit, activate, set GWC. Normal summon the Dormouse. I'm just going to Birth that, of course. We'll dump Archfiend, since I'm not getting the one back I had. He goes into his Link Decoder here. And this is going to be where he tries to extend with Wizard. I'll negate that with Sage. He could have used the GWC while he had White Rabbit on the field, of course, but then I could have just negated that. So he actually just can't extend any further here. Has to pass. I get to add back Warrior. I get to add back Archfiend. We've still got the Birth up. So at this point, he's toast. Can't do anything about it. Not too bad. Under Max C against Malice there. I got one more here. Just a couple. A lot of the duels I had with this, people would just look at the board and see that there was too much to deal with and scoop it up. People don't tend to stick around super long in the lower ranks. I'm going second this time. This time I have the Max C. My hand is not particularly great. We drew Lord. You don't really want to do that. He's playing some Tearlament stuff. Just going to dump Sheeran, make yourself a Kit Close. Give me one measly draw. And that'll be that. We drew Theosis, which is pretty good. He's going to search Suliek. So we know he's got a monster negate, and we know nothing else. Obviously, I'll start out with Unicorn in this case, and he does choose to Suliek there. Probably a good call. So that's fine. Obviously, we can just activate Theosis at this point, but when he sends the Kit Close here, he's going to get his mills, and wouldn't you know it, he milled another Sheeran. So now he gets to put back Kit Close, and we have to deal with the Arukelos. So she can negate the Theosis, but I just feel like it's going to be more valuable to resolve Code. He can only negate one of those two, so I bait him out with the Theosis there. Arukelos is going to bring herself back. Now I can resolve Code, and this is going to get me a lot more advantage because it gets Archfiend. Archfiend get Regenesis. Regenesis is going to get me, I think, Sage here in this case. Yep. Whereas if I had resolved Theosis, I get Fenrir, and what does Fenrir do for me, right? Banish to summon out Lord here. We get the Birth. We'll just go battle phase, and here is kind of what I was talking about with the Flare Metal. We deal a lot of damage, but he's left with 1,000. I would have gone into Flare Metal here, but Code extra deck locks you, so we can't do that. I just have to set and pass here. We've got a reasonable amount of disruption, but he starts busting out some Thunder Dragon cards here. Because it turns out he's on Thunder Dragon Tearlament. I use Unicorn just so it stops asking me, even though he's permanently negated. He's just doing Chaos Dragon stuff, building up like infinite card advantage here. He milled a Chaos Space off that Kit Close as well, so he gets to draw a free card. The Link monster of choice here is SP, and he just goes for random back row. It's the cross out. I chain it, no particular reason to do so or not. He's going to use his SP. It's fine. Just take the Link material off the board, I guess. That doesn't really bother me. Lord is banished, so he won't be coming back anytime soon, but that's fine. He won't be able to attack directly, but I don't imagine he'd be doing that anyway. He'll go Hawk Effect and just make a Colossus. Colossus could be pretty annoying with the stat line, but I've got Birth to book him. being just, 100 attack points bigger than all of my guys. Pretty annoying, but we get Warrior now. Lord comes back. And at this point, he's pretty much toast. Not really anything he can do. I have 2 Omni Negates, basically, with Sage and Dragon's Mind. Beat him up. So there you go. 2 quick duels just to show you what this deck is capable of. It is, I mean, it's obviously not on the level of Malice and Ryzeal, but it is, like, way better than I thought it was going to be, and I think way better than the cards look. Just having a bunch of big dudes is pretty strong. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought about the deck. Leave some comments, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.